Are you a filmmaker or content creator with a vision that demands the best? Then look no further than IPGRentals.com, the ultimate destination for audio, video, lighting, drones, and support gear for your productions. At IPG Rentals, we believe in the power of collaboration. Our gear becomes an extension of your creativity, bringing your vision to life. And with our tagline, Our Gear, Your Vision, we're not just a rental service, we're your production partner. Why choose IPG Rentals, you may ask? Easy. We bring quality, reliability, and an extensive range of top-notch equipment. From industry-standard cameras and audio equipment to state-of-the-art lighting and drones, our gear is meticulously maintained to ensure you get the best results every time. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.ipgrentals.com. Our Gear, Your Vision. Welcome back to Media Hub. I'm your host, Don DeSanchez, and today's episode is titled Chasing the Dream, Life of a Creative Freelancer with our good friend, Jaime Soto. Jaime has directed many music videos, Christian films, horror movies, and a Disney Channel sitcom made for Italy. He also works as a camera operator for all the major TV networks. Jaime's career is the perfect example of what it means to freelance in this industry, balancing jobs that pay the bills while still working on passion projects that fuel his soul. In this episode, we'll talk about what a new freelancer can expect, how to advance your career, the impact of AI on creative work, and the ever-important question about work-life balance. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Jaime's insight will help you chase your dream. Let's get into it. Jaime Soto, my man, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for finally coming on. I know I have been telling you about this project since season 1, and we finally get to have you on this season.
It's good to be here, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man. So, hey, this season we came up with something new to let our viewers know more about who our guest is. So we came up with this new segment called Quick Takes, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to throw you some quick questions here, and we're going to have fun with it.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's go.
Quick Takes.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Ready? Passion project or high-paying gig?
I think passion project. It could lead to a high-paying gig, and it's probably fun to do because it's a passion project.
All right. Awesome. Studio lot or on-location shoot?
Studio lot. I think having everything set up is great.
Silent set or controlled chaos?
I mean, as much as you want to make it a silent set, you get controlled chaos, but I do prefer the set to be silent.
Okay, all right. Cinematic or run and gun?
I think run and gun. I do a lot of that, and I think it's a nice way to create.
Yep. All right. Scripted show or live sports?
Both have their benefits. I really like them both, but I think scripted. A lot of opportunity for different stuff.
Okay. Late night edit or early call time?
Oh, late night edit, 100%. Who wants an early call?
Nope. I hear you. One-man band or full crew?
Full crew. It's always nice to work with a village of people.
Okay, all right. I thought you were going the other way with that one. Here we go.
Film
school.
I work with a one-man band a lot, but
Okay.
it's just I work with lots of one-man band a lot, but I think I like working with people.
Okay, all right. Prep everything or improvise as you go?
Prepping and you still end up improvising, so I guess it goes with the run and gun, so I guess improvise as you go.
Hey, everything about this whole field is roll with the punches, right?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you did great on those questions.
Quick Takes.
All right, Jaime. Let's get to the more serious questions now. So you've done a lot in your career. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show. Between live sports, features, music videos, documentaries. I mean, you've done it all, and I just wanted to have you on here so you can talk to the viewers to let them know how to manage the bread and butter jobs and still have the passion jobs that you want to do, right? Or the independent jobs that you do. So here's one of my questions. Throughout your career, what type of projects have you worked on? Let the people know.
Like you said, I've done a lot of different genres. So, I did feature films. So I've done 3 feature films as a director. I've AD'd 7. I worked as a director for a television series for Disney called Game On. It's on Apple TV and Prime now. It's 26 episodes. And I do live TV, sports, TV, football. Live sports are fun to me because they're you don't know what's going to happen, and you just got to be at the right place, right time, and kind of stay ahead of the game. So, yeah, that's kind of the scope of what I do normally. I do edit, but that's it's extra.
Okay, all right. Do you consider TV and live sports, those gigs, your bread and butter, and the other gigs more passion projects?
Yeah, I mean, you try to get a mix, right? I mean, when you're working in the business, you need to have that base. And whatever works for you as the base when you're first starting out, you got to kind of stick with. And so what happened is that ESPN and sports are so much fun. I enjoy doing that. I work with some great people. I think I work with the best in the business as a director, working with the director who's the best in the business, a crew that's the best in the business. And I think when you're looking for something, you look for something solid like that, and you want to hang on to it. So you load that up at certain times of the month and you kind of keep that, and everything else you kind of work as a passion project on the off time. So yeah, I would consider the thing that ends up coming up the most is kind of the bread and butter for you. You kind of hang on to that, whatever it is, and then you can have time and less stress to work on the other stuff.
Great answer, man. What should someone just starting out in freelancing expect in their first year? What would you say to that?
A lot of hustle. I mean, you have to really get on it. You have to understand the business, the people that are working in it, keep your ear to the ground. It's really important also to understand that you're going to have to take another job somewhere, a little part-time, keep yourself afloat, because, there's a lot of opportunities in a lot of different places, but they don't come to you every day. And when you first start out, you're really kind of seeking, but you're not really taking, you're not really getting that work. So I think it's really important to understand that as a main fact, that you're going to have to get a job somewhere else. You're going to have to keep your ear to the ground. You're going to have to pay attention to the business and learn your craft, any way you can.
Yeah, especially, given that time to get your name out there. How about doing stuff, back when we first started, Jamie, we did a lot of stuff for free. You really don't see a lot of people doing that now, but what would you say about, give advice about that, getting your name out there and doing stuff for free?
No, honestly, for us, it was more of a game that we had to play to get our network. Because where do you go to get that network of people? Where do you start? You don't know where to start. So you have to get into a production where other people are in the same boat as you. And sometimes the production is great and it leads on to other things. And sometimes it's not great. Sometimes it leads to absolutely nothing. But what it does lead to is the person that's next to you that you battled with and grinded with, that person is now your teammate. And that person is now going to get another job somewhere else and come back to you and be like, hey, I worked with this dude on this job and it was terrible, but he was awesome. I would like to work with him again. So that's kind of what you have to do to kind of stay in the mix. And it's important. So that's when you're working for free, you'll get a lot more opportunity, right? And you are giving yourself away to something, but you're also taking something from it. And that's learning. You keep your eyes and ears open, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And that's the important part of when you're first starting.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. How did you get your first few gigs, and what kept you going when it got tough?
So in high school, I was very involved with production, high school TV productions. I was doing segments and all things like that. And you know him, Smokey Knudsen. He came to my school, the production manager for Universal Studios, and he did a speech about production and what it's like and what it could be like. And I always wanted to be a part of it. I was doing that anyway. And then the folks at the school told him that I was the one that was doing most of the work in production there, and that I would be a good person that he can talk to. So I led him around the school. He told me to write him a letter. I wrote him a letter. He wrote me back, and he gave me my first job as the ESPN Cypress Cove ESPN boat races that were out there before Legoland was out there. And from there, I just kind of hung in there. And I hung in there long enough with a couple other jobs that I got an internship at Nickelodeon Studios. That's where I met you. But at Nickelodeon Studios, and that internship at Nickelodeon Studios was so amazing because it took me through all these shows in a lot of different ways with some really cool people, and I got to stay in an environment and watch people kind of rotate out in one spot. I didn't have to move around too much, so I knew technically what was needed, who needed to do what, and I was able to pay attention that way. And that led to a lot of different things. All those people went off to do their own things, but now we work with them in different capacities in different places because they don't work there anymore. So that's a really important part of that.
Yeah, man, you were able to get to see how big running shows that were number one shows at the time, how they really worked in every
Yeah,
department by being there at Nickelodeon.
working with Kim Fields, Chuck Vincent. I mean, they were at time and still, doing great jobs directing. It was fun to see them work, and it gives you confidence because what they're doing was fun. They had a good time, and they still got the job done. And that's kind of what I always took from Nickelodeon is that, we can have a good time, but we still get the work done.
Jamie, what mistakes did you make early on that new freelancers can learn from?
Honestly, I think I took everything as a competition early on. You think you're going to go out there, take somebody's job, do a great job, and be like, "Whoa, you're awesome. I'm not going to use him anymore. I'm going to use you." And that's not really the way it works. You go out there, you put your best foot forward, you do the best you can, and you hope that it comes back to you. But that job belonged to somebody, or a crewer put somebody there that needed to be there, and there's all kinds of reasons why they're there. So I think the mistake that I made early was taking it as a competition and not really paying attention to the people around me because I thought they were trying to take the work that I wanted. But that's not true. We're all trying to do a good job, a good show. And what I discovered is that those network of people are really the key to your career. It's not the people at the top. It's the people that you work with around you.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you said that because, I remember I was talking at a school and where I was part of a panel, and this one student gets up and she's like, "Well, I'm going to be a director, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that," and I'm like, "Whoa, just pump the brakes just a little bit." That might work
Yeah.
if you're doing your own projects, but you're talking about you think you're going to bump somebody that's been in the business for 20, 30 years, and you're just going to come in and do it. It just doesn't work that way. You might go ahead and be a
Yeah,
gopher, a
especially
PA.
that job. Yeah, especially that job. That's one of,
Yeah,
So to do that, to think that that's just going to happen like that is very delusional because you have to learn the process. You have to learn the people. You have to learn how it works.
absolutely.
But it's
Uh,
happened. People have come up with money and directed something. And can't say it's not going to happen, but it's very rare.
exactly. All right. So, how do you find time and resources to work on your independent projects while still paying the bills?
When you do those projects, you understand that they're extra. So you have to kind of figure out your schedule, what you're doing, when you're doing it. As far as resources are concerned, when you gather with people to do a project, everybody comes to the table with something. Somebody has a camera, somebody can do a schedule, somebody can get the cast, somebody can get the location. So when you're talking about resources and the things that you need, you have to work with people that have that ability because a lot of times you can't pay them what you want. So you just have to gather the people that have those resources. And then when you schedule your time, you got to schedule time in between stuff because you don't know what's going to happen with it. And you have to keep a foundation of finances. It's
Yeah,
just the way it works. So it's important to know that if you're going to use the resources, what you have available, what your schedule is, and don't do it on the time that you are working. Make sure that you're doing it on the times that you have available. That's what makes it a passion project. If you're doing it at a time when you're working, it's not a passion project. You have to get rid of something to do it. Now it's work because now you got to fill the gap. So I wouldn't recommend that. I kind of do it when you have availability.
ooh, which that's some of the that's probably why a lot of times people start giving up on them because they know, they might be living check to check and they know like I have to pay these bills, so I can't really do that
Yeah.
anymore. Even though that's also how they get burned out, you know?
It's the stress. As that stress really
Yeah.
gets you, and the stress really is financial. Because if you had something to maintain you until you got there, it's worth the wait. but
Yeah.
you don't know when it's coming and you need something. And that's something that you get sometimes fills your schedule so tight that you're not available to do the passion project. So you have to get rid of it when it comes up. So you get in this cycle of stuff that really kind of it becomes a problem for you when you're a freelancer. You know who does this really great? Actors. Actors keep themselves available by being like servers because they know they just have to replace themselves, and then they're fine and they're available. And that's kind of what you're looking for in that instance. You're looking for something that can keep you busy, and then sort of you could be available for other stuff, and they know what that is, so they might work with you.
Have you ever had to say no to a passion project because of financial reasons?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you overexert yourself a little bit. Your idea is bigger than what you're able to do. You start the process and then realize how much work it's going to be, and then you just go, "Whew, I just glad that's not going to pan out." But you never really get rid of it. You kind of put it on the side and wait, and you kind of chip away at it. And that's kind of when you're working solo and working on these passion projects. You're generally chipping away at it for a very long time because you don't have that moment to really sit there for 2 weeks and get after it. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's what you did. You would just work on it whenever you can, and just chip away at it like that. Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, and then for what I did, right? I did a lot of the schedule. I did a lot of the important stuff to get them to shooting. So I was able to kind of push things a day or two because I wasn't available to work it, and they were working with me by making it a Monday through Thursday shoot and taking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off so I can go do football. So it's
Hey.
kind of like I was always conscious of that. I was conscious of what was coming next and what I had coming in.
Well, that was great that you were able to work it like that with your schedule. That's awesome. How important is networking in the freelance world?
Networking is everything, man. Everything, because that's all you got. Once you arrive somewhere, you can network in different ways. You can network with your work. You show up and do what you have to do. You do it great. People know that you know what you're doing, and that people that are watching you go, all right, this person's a good dude and he does good work. I keep note, right? That's with your work. And then with your words, you kind of, you understand the people that are around you, who you're working with, and you get the numbers and you just get on their radar,
Yeah.
not crewers, their radar. Because then what happens is they end up replacing themselves. You know how many times when it gets busy and you're like, oh crap, I got a really good opportunity here. I got to get rid of this thing. I met this guy one time and he's not really working that much. He might be available. Let me give him a call. Bam, that's your in. That's your network. That's how it works. Otherwise, how do you get the opportunity to show people who you are and what? You don't. So you have to keep yourself active. You have to keep yourself a focus on your craft always. And then when it's time to show up, you just got to show up. That's your networking. And then it'll all work itself out.
Oh, good, man. How would you say you stayed in the front of people's minds to continue to get hired?
I guess that would be the way. I'm the worst at social media. I don't have it. I don't use it. I don't update it. I don't put anything on it to tell you what I'm doing, when I'm doing, however. So that's usually the go-to for most people nowadays. And you can. I recommend it. It's going to be a real easy way for you to do it. But for me, I didn't. But what that showed me was the network that I created and the way that I go about doing things works because I didn't need social media to get me there. I needed people. I needed the people around me. I needed the people above me. I needed people below me. I need everybody to know that I'm there for you. I'm in support. I can work. I can do this, and that's kind of how it works for you. That's my network, and that's how you stay on the radar. You can only hope for the best, man. Things change. You can do great work for somebody and they can promise you the world and then disappear and never see them again. But you have to understand that you did your best work, and that's going to pop up in somebody's mind, either the person next to you, the person that was working with them, whoever. But you just got to stay at it.
Yeah, and I think I could say that's one thing that you really did a lot. Whenever you had a project, you always try to get the same crew back in every department. I remember that about you. You would bring them from project to project. Is
Yeah.
there a reason why you did that?
Yeah, because you work with your network of people. Like everybody else tries to create their group, you want to create yours. I want to work with, my a DP that I trust and enjoy. I want to work with somebody. So no matter what the project is, I know that they're professional enough to get it done. So I don't look outside the box. I say whatever the project is, I know these people can do it, and we're going to go do it. A lot of times what happens when somebody has a project, they try to put a name to it. They try to get too many people that have different experience with this person, that person, the other thing. But if you're confident in what you're doing, where it's going, how it's going to work, and the people around you, there's nothing like it. When you get into something and you're just not confident of the people around you, you end up losing track of stuff. So I like the confidence of having the people around me that I know, that I like, and that really I know work hard and that are in it for me. They understand my journey, what I'm doing, and they really want to succeed for me too. And that's kind of why I always try to keep the same people, because it's very important.
That's cool. And I'm sure every crew member really appreciated that as well. What happens is they just start depending on for you to get their job and to keep them busy at the same time, and that's another pressure for you as well. That it happens.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's true, and you hope that you can provide them with something to hold them off until they get something else. And then when you have time to come back, you come back and grab them when you can. And that's a thing, you can only use them when you can. And if it's not available, it's just not available. So that goes back to you as a freelancer, right? If you get on a gig like that with somebody who trusted you, that's your network. Every time that person comes up to do something, you make yourself available because that's your group. That's your people that you trust. They're doing good product, good work, and are really trying to do something that nobody's done yet, or trying to do something for everybody else around them. So once you get that comfortability, you want to keep that. So once they start doing projects, you sort of stay with that group, stay with that network, whatever they're working on, because you trust them and you know that they're doing the work for a purpose and positive, way. Sometimes you get productions, you work with people that you don't want to work with again, but that's kind of the pace. That's how it works.
So we were talking about working with a full crew and anything, but there's a lot of things that you do as a solo person, all one-man band, right? So what are some of the challenges working as a one-man band, and how do you overcome them?
I think the challenge is staying organized, keeping a schedule, knowing what's coming up, answering very basic questions for yourself about the project so that you always keep a base of where you're focusing it, so that anything that comes up, if you're out of track, you don't really know where you want to go with it, you can always focus it into these very basic parameters, very, very basic questions. And that keeps it easy for you. Part of the way that I deal with that is obviously staying scheduled. Like, I went to Israel for 4 months. I went by myself, right? And I was there doing a documentary. You shoot, you do audio, you have to schedule, you have to make sure you're safe, you have to keep things moving, right? And I think that's the basics of what kept me safe, what kept me moving that documentary where it needed to go, was that I knew what I was doing, why I was doing it, what I was there for in general, and what my purpose of doing this is. There's a project purpose and there's a your purpose, and you got to know both. And then it's easy for you to kind of do your project and chip away at it. Give yourself time. If you're trying to rush it and you're doing it by yourself, some things are gonna fall out. The more time you have, the easier it is for you to do by yourself.
Yeah. And how long, I don't want to go into it because people don't know how serious that documentary was. I don't want to get too much into it, but it was during some rough times in this world, and you're like,
Yeah,
I'm going to
it's a
Israel.
little scary.
I'm all by
Yeah, it's a little
myself. And
scary.
I'm like, you are crazy.
Again, passion, the passion drives you to do crazy things sometimes.
Yeah.
Curiosity as well. And you get the two things together and it can be dangerous, pretty powerful.
Yeah. How long did that documentary take? What was the name of it? Just throw the name out.
It was Eyes on the Ground. And I was there 4 months. I went to West Bank. I went to Tel Aviv. I went into Gaza, Syria, Egypt. Went into a lot of those places to try to tell the story of the two groups of people that are just battling there.
Yeah.
They both have their excuses and their things that they're focused on. And I just wanted to shed light to it for somebody from Brooklyn, Orlando, have no reason being over there, Puerto Rican kid. And it was, why not?
Didn't know the language, didn't know anything,
You know
didn't
the
know what was being
language? No,
said.
nothing. No, nothing. You just go, plan, attack, do the best you can, get what you need, know what you want, and then you're good to go.
Oh, man. That was,
Yeah,
to this
yeah, it's
day, it
crazy.
surprised me that you went over there. All right.
Yeah.
What skills or tools are essential for someone trying to wear multiple hats in a production?
Honestly, staying organized.
Okay.
There is no real, you can use all the tools in the world. Everybody has their preference. I use my preferences as far as what I use to organize scripts and things like that. So it doesn't really matter what the program is. I think, honestly, if you keep yourself organized, know what your next step is, what you need to do next, who needs to know what, and get all those in order, then you're going to have the skills to do just about anything, because you can slow it down pretty dramatically once you know all the details of the project and what you're working on, right? So you slow it down in your brain because everything's so fast in the freelance world. But if you know all the information, you can stop gap. You can be like, all right, this is cool because I know what's coming next. So everybody, this is the pace, set it.
Yeah. Would you say
Yeah.
you were always an organized person, or is there something that you learned throughout your career?
No, honestly, I met a mentor of mine, Martin Piccinini, who's an AD, first AD. You know him. He's a fantastic AD. He took me in under his wing and taught me how to break down scripts. Breaking down scripts from the beginning to end, taking scenes, making them so that every scene, you know exactly what happens, what department it goes to, how long it's going to take to shoot, where it goes in the schedule. All of those things showed me one very specific thing and led to my entire career being what it is I organized everything. When I got those scripts, I was so organized that nobody could ask me a question I didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's all people really want from an AD in that instance, was to just know that somebody knows the answer. And once I figured that out, and he taught me how to schedule and keep things on time, be smart about it. I took all of that and I ran with it through everything, and it worked. So no, I wasn't always as organized, but I learned that once I got organized, it changed everything for me. I just slowed things down, and I was able to look at things from a wider perspective and see it from a bigger picture.
Yeah, which believe it or not, those skills also help you become a better producer and a better director at the same
That's
time.
That's what led me to that, right? Because
Yeah.
look, the first time I got to direct something in that instance, I was the AD. I scheduled it so much. I was around for every meeting. They did not like the director who was there. They fired him. They didn't have time to hire the director. Who's there? Me. They knew me. They knew who I was. They knew what I did, and I got the opportunity because I knew everything about it. So they're like, well, who else is going to come in and do that, right? So I
Yeah.
took care of it, and I took charge of that, and that's how I got control of that. But that one skill let me understand that if I wanted to produce, I stay organized because I know what they need. If I want to direct, I stay organized because I know what shots you need to get this scene out of the way. If I want to AD, I know everything about every position so that I know what prop, person, place, or thing needs to be on set when they need to be on set. And that's just
Yeah.
all organization.
What practical steps can a freelancer take to grow their career in the next few years? What would you say? So the person that's coming into the industry right now, like, what steps should he take for their career to grow?
Shoot stuff. If you have something at the house, you have a camera, you just shoot stuff. Get your vibe, get your feeling of the style that you like, what you like, how you like to shoot. If you're out there shooting and you're like, nah, I really don't want to do this, then it's probably something you don't want to do. So you'll feel that out. If you're audio, if you're video, if you're a camera operator in television, a lot of ways that I'm seeing now is colleges honestly have programs now where they're shooting everything that we're shooting, same way we're shooting it, right? So you take
Yeah.
advantage in the college. What people do sometimes is they skate through that and then they get out of that. They don't really pay attention to what they're doing in there. And when they come out, they think, oh, I did it in college and that was it. It doesn't really work like that. You got to stay working on it. Also, like if you're working in that field in television, in-house camera operating, those guys, those operators, they get an opportunity to shoot sports, live TV, just like we do on the network, and then they slide over really well. That's a good way to kind of keep yourself in the mix. Public access, just be shooting, keep your craft going. If you're working in the film world, like I did, part of that is finding your group of people, right? We talked about it, networking. Get that group of people that is working on a project together. Hey, I got some people, I'm working on this thing. It's a horror film for 10 days and it's whatever. If you're available, put yourself out there, get out there. And that's really going to help you as well on that film world, because that network of people is going to end up dragging you to your next job if you don't find the next one. So you just have to know where you're going, what you want out of it, and then really focus in on the important stuff, which is your craft, your self-being, who you want to be, and then you can bring something to the table when it's your time to come to the table.
How about, we've been in TV for a long time. What's something that freelancing in TV and film that nobody ever warns you about?
That you're never going to have a weekend ever, ever. Um, Paychecks sometimes are random. They 30-ish, 2 weeks-ish. 60 days ish, and you don't find out until 30 days ish after that it's 60
Mm-hmm.
days ish, that
Yep.
kind of stuff. Sometimes when you work those smaller productions, if you don't do your research on who you're working with, sometimes those checks can bounce. And then you get another check after that might bounce, and then they have to pay you another one after that. But that goes to what I was saying to you before, right? I mean, that stuff happens, but that's also part of like having a backup,
Yeah.
having something else that you can go to, so you're not stressed out about that kind of stuff. You do it. What you did it for was your network. The check's going to come with it, but the check is so far away that really you have to focus on being your network. That's what you did it for. You did it to kind of make note who you were, get the job in, and then the check will come when it comes, and that's how you got to think of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Learning how to budget was definitely something that we all had to learn how to do 30,
Yeah,
45,
very
60
quickly.
days. And I'm glad you said about the weekend thing, because that's one thing they don't tell you about. But if you realize, if you want to work in TV, yeah, every time you're on a holiday and you're watching something on TV with your family, Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Yeah,
you're watching something, right? There's a big game on somewhere, right? Who do you think's
it's
there
us.
live?
Yep.
There's always somebody there, right? So that, I mean, I say that to
Yep.
every student that I meet, or every somebody that's coming into the industry. Look, you chose to get into this industry. No one,
Yep.
no one forced you. You chose, and this is the way it is.
That's the way it
And
is.
unfortunately,
Yep.
that's the way
Yep.
you got to deal with it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How do you deal with uncertainty and the ups and downs of freelance life, which, especially in the beginning, there's a lot. But then again, in your career later on, the way the economy can go, or the way the film industry incentives, things like that, it can be like this, right? So how do you deal with it?
Yeah. You just have to know it's coming. When you know it's coming, then you prep for it. Psychologically, you prep for it. Financially, you prep for it. And then when it comes, you go, okay, well, I kind of knew that was coming, so I have this little thing that I've been working on the side. That's the best way to deal with it. You have to keep positive scope on what you're doing. Like, you have to know that you're putting out your best stuff when you go out there, and then let everything else kind of play out for itself. Like, that's important.
Okay. All right. What habits or mindsets have helped you stay successful and motivated over time? Because how many years are you in now, Jamie?
28, 29. Well,
Okay,
I've
20,
known you
29
30,
years.
so I could be 30. Yeah, I'm like 30 years.
Okay.
No,
So
no, wait, no, no,
throughout
no, wait,
all
wait,
that
wait, wait.
time,
Yeah, wait.
yeah,
27, 27 total.
27 years. Okay.
Full
So
time, yep.
throughout those 27 years, there's been a lot of ups and downs. All right. We all know that. The film industry has definitely changed. It moves. Where back in the 90s, I mean, Florida was Hollywood East, and now it's Hollywood. Someone told me the other day, Hollywood Least right now.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
It's fortunate.
But
Yeah,
so
it's
so tell me how
unfortunate.
you deal with it. How you stay
I
motivated.
mean, well, honestly, it's the passion, right? I mean, you go back
Yeah.
to why you're doing it. And like I said at the very beginning, is that you have to answer those questions for yourself. That's what leads you through everything,
Yeah.
right? That leads you through everything. So you want to hang in there because you hope that the intention is that you're going to do this full time one day, but you don't have that availability right now. So what do I do right now to wait for that? And that's what you really kind of keeping in your head always. We've been in this business for a long time, and we know that we do our work. People say that we're coming back. Oh, great, we're going to do this next year. And when they come back, it's not us. Somebody else is there because the crew changed, the crewer changed, the producer changed, and
Right.
you just lost it. And that's just the way
Yeah.
it is. And you can't count on it like that. So, as the mentality that I got of not counting on it and always having something to move to, changed the whole perspective of how I treat the freelance world.
Yeah. Learning how to deal with the roles and punches. Like you brought up a very good point. When I never count on a show, even though there's shows that we've done for over 10 years, 5 years, because a producer could change, a production company could change, and they want to bring in their own people, and that's just the way the industry works. So I don't count on anything until that phone call comes in. So it's very good that you
Yeah,
said that.
it's an important piece of mentality that you got to have, and that
Yeah.
leads you to what you're going to work on while that's happening, and that's kind of the key to how we survive.
Yeah. So, and right now, our industry, just like every other industry, is changing with AI. And we've been asking all our guests about AI. I want to get your input on this, or what you think about it. Have you started using AI tools in your creative or any of the production stuff you've been
Yeah.
doing?
So recently, I started kind of digging into AI a little bit because you got to keep up with the times. I have used it as a writer's room. When you go to a writer's room, you have five writers in a room, and when you kind of come up with an idea, you stop. All the writers come up with something. You pick something that's good. You move on, right? And that's how I use AI. I don't have
Okay.
the ability to have a writer's room or people in it. So when you come to a point in the story, you're like, oh, I really would like this character or this person to do something that's kind of cool like this, but you don't know what. You kind of apply it to that and say, okay, well, that's a good idea. Give me three ideas. You take one and you move on. So
Yeah.
productivity really it increases the productivity a little bit.
Okay. What would you say are the biggest pros and cons of AI, especially in our industry?
Honestly, the pros are productivity faster. It's going to make people, a little more efficient. And the cons are it's creating a lot of phonies. There's people that are using AI to get their idea out, but have no clue what they're doing. But they use AI to put the paperwork out, and you get that paperwork. And the only time you can really decipher that they're phonies because the paperwork is so legit is when you talk to them on the phone or see them on a Zoom, and then they can't hide, right? Because the AI is not going to answer questions for them. So you have to go to that step now. So it's just making you take an extra step to trust that that person didn't use something that it's not a passion if you AI wrote it and now you're just
Yeah.
going to do it. It's just a money project. And that's what I want to know because that's kind of how I determine what I do and what I don't do.
Okay. All right. So I know that you work in a lot of different clicks. How do you see AI changing the way freelancers work in the next 5 years? You can pick any click that you work in.
Man, I mean, look at camera operating. We're already seeing cameras to do the wide shots to cover game.
Yep.
And they're working on that. They've been working on that with us for a very long time, and they still haven't nailed it yet, but they're close. So I assume that that's going to be something that AI is going to take over. And in the film world, I think AI special effects, graphics, things like that. People in their basement are going to come up with some really cool special effects and really cool projects because of AI. And I don't mind that as much because it's something that they needed the tool to help them create something that they weren't able to do before, and they're not financially able to do it now. So that's
Yeah.
when AI is the most viable. But when you have the money to do it and you're out there, you use it in bits and pieces. But if you're just using that, then,
Yeah, so I had Mike Lacey on the show, which you know Mike as well. We all
yeah,
go way
love
back, right?
Mike.
He's been directing
Yeah,
PGA and things like that. And I had told him, I was like, it's just a matter of time that all these guys that follow the golf ball, or you put a tracker in the golf ball, put a remote head in all these towers, and it's going to follow it just as much as anybody else. Probably
yep,
even better.
yep, yep. And that's kind of the way it's going. And we just have to keep up with it and find our new path of if that takes over where we're going to end up. And now it's time to start really figuring out what's next because
Yeah.
AI is really kind of making people advance a little bit and what they're thinking. It's moving things a lot faster. And it's giving opportunity to a lot of people that didn't have that opportunity before. So they're really getting
Yeah.
after it. There's some
Yeah.
funny stuff out there. People are creating with AI, honestly, but
Right.
we'll see where it goes.
And it sounds like you're pro AI, but it has its good parts and bad parts. And it's
You
going
know,
to make things faster, but at the same time, it might make other jobs. It might take away jobs, but at the same time, it might bring new jobs too. So, but only time will
yeah,
tell.
we're not going to stop that. We're not going to
Right.
stop that. No matter what we do, we're
Right.
not going to stop that. It's going to happen.
Ex-
So we just know it's coming. Keep
Embrace
up,
it. That's what I
embrace
say.
it,
Embrace.
keep
I'm
up,
all about it.
move on. Yeah, move on. Let's go. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it's got to go with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, if you could pick any project, no limits, no constraints, what would it be and why?
Uh, Honestly, I had a great time doing that episodic television, doing that TV show for 17 weeks, doing those 26 episodes. I would do that again. I would find a comedy, episodic, season, studio. That would be my ideal kind of way to work. I learned that process through Nickelodeon. I watched how Nickelodeon ran their studios. Full circle moment. So the Nickelodeon studios that we interned in, I
Yeah.
shot that TV show in those same studios that I interned in. I,
It's
I took the
crazy.
sound stage. I had the offices. I moved Angel's office. That used to be his office. I moved it to a storage room. Angel was the guy who hired me at Nickelodeon. Love you, Angel. And I moved my storage stuff into his office, and then he put me in the storage room when I was an intern, and I made that my office. So I just had a nice full circle moment there with that show, and it gives me good vibes to show up every day, and everybody's happy to be there and work and create and not do much of anything else. So yeah, 100%. I think that's where I would go.
Dude, to this day, that's still one of the best places I've ever worked in my whole career,
Best.
and that was in the beginning of my career.
It's the baseline for everything. Everything.
Tell people what that project was. The one you did, the one you're talking about, the sitcom.
It's Game On. It had a cast of 8, and it's Zach, who's a video game maker, and he's a little kid, and he makes this game that's becomes really famous. And this gaming company wants to revamp their gaming company, so they give the kid the keys to the company, and now he's in charge. So he comes in charge, and everybody else who's been there for a while, it's his battle of trying to make a new game and make friends and, kind of go through this this process of him becoming the boss of something at the age of, 15 years old.
Now, you directed this as well. Did you play any other parts on this project?
No, I think, producing, you do a little bit of that. But in this process, the director was it all encompassing as far as getting the soundstage together, figuring out the workflow. I was the AD as well as far as scheduling. I had stage managers and assistant directors while I was there. But during the course of it, I scheduled the entire thing myself because that's where I felt my strength was. So I scheduled the 17-week shoot. And then you build the sets. The sets had to change dramatically from what they were because of the timing and things like that. So that was my job, was to pay attention to all of that and then to get the daily activity out. I would get the workflow going so that I could shoot in the day, and then when everybody left, I'd go up to the edit suite and edit and get like a basic edit done. And then the next day, the editors would come in and finish it, and then I would go up and watch it, make notes, and then start my next one for the next episode. But that was quite a task, man. 26 episodes.
How did you land that job? Tell everybody how you landed it.
I had worked with this group of people. This goes back to that networking too. I worked with a group of people doing a trailer for a movie. They did the trailer for the movie. The movie didn't quite happen when it was supposed to. This same company that was doing that trailer got an opportunity to do this TV show. It was an Italian producer, an Italian executive, and they came down. And because I did that with that show, they actually came to my set. I was doing Rockabilly Zombie Weekend, the movie, right? Yep, they came to my set right before we shot, while we were shooting towards the end there. And I had like the big scene, and they came to the set and they talked to me about what I did. And I told them that I really wanted to do episodic, and this is kind of how I wanted things to roll. And when they were done and they left that day, they called me. They asked me to come and do this meeting, and they had a meeting with a bunch of people. It was like 10, 15 of us at a table. And he was going through the jobs that he wanted everybody to do and what he wanted. He's like, and this is our director, Jamie. And I was like, oh, me? God. Okay, yeah, I'm in. Yeah. Cool.
That's awesome.
But it was never really spoken until that part of it, So they had ideas of what they wanted to do with me, brought me into the meeting, and just put me in that spot. And because they knew that's what I wanted to do, and they just didn't think I would say no, which they're right.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like they like what they saw when they went to set, maybe how you're running everything. And hey, but
yeah, they had a good
that's
time.
How it works, right? It's right place, right time. Oh, and you always get your job usually from your last job, something like that, right?
Yeah. I went into shooting that 2 weeks. I was in that soundstage. I was working on that while I was doing Rockabilly. I was in that soundstage 2 weeks after I shot Rockabilly Zombie Weekend. So I was still in post for Rockabilly before I started that. So it was like, I don't know how I did it when I look back at it. It was just one of those crazy things you like floating around magically, because I don't know how I got it all done, but I did.
Hey, like you said, it goes back to the organization, scheduling, and just pushing through.
Saved me.
Yeah.
100%.
Are there any genres or styles that you haven't worked on but really want to explore?
I've worked on all of them, man. I feel we've gone through all the range. I've done a lot with you, actually. We've scattered the industry. Honestly, when I think about it, I would kind of switch it up. I'd go to theater. I think I'd direct like a play or something. You know,
Okay.
it's a whole new outlet for being creative. It's something I've never
Yeah.
done before. It kind of sparks something new because it's still creative, but it's just like different way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I'd land if I was to do something
Not only
completely
that,
that
man,
flip
live is
perspective.
live. Theater is, it's like doing live TV. You ain't going back. This is it. This is the
Nope,
way it's
nope.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's that same kind of vibe. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
there's something about a rush about just live TV because it's just, and hey, it can't go over. You only got the airtime you got, and that's it.
yeah. That's it. Done and done.
Uh huh. All
That's
right,
the other
here we
thing
go.
that appeals me to TV versus film, though, honestly, because what I like about straddling that is that I can go to TV, get a job done, walk away, know that it's done. I don't have to think about
Yeah,
it again.
yeah.
Film, you walk away and you're 24/7 until the project is done. It's a totally different mentality. So I enjoy being able to step in and step out. It's like a thing we don't get to do very often, and it's such an adrenaline rush because it's live TV. It's fun.
Yeah. Here's a question that I just thought about. How have both, doing the independent on either film, either one or I think you've always done multi-camera. I don't think you've ever done. Was Rockabilly, was that one camera?
I did two cameras. Yeah,
Two cameras.
did
So I
multi.
think you always had multi-camera, but how did working in both cliques, both genres, help each other? How did they both give you strengths to work in the other?
I think so. The thing about those businesses is that one group of people does not. You don't come across film folks in the TV
Right.
entertainment world, right? So they don't flip over as much like that. So for me, what I took is the mentality of live TV, run and gun shooting, being prepared, making sure that I have everything ready to go when I go to a film shoot that's a run and gun,
Yeah.
right? So you treat it more like a television shoot, and you go faster, you move faster, and you
Yes.
know that
Exactly.
the look is just as good because we do this all the time. So you can
Right.
run from here to the end of days, and we know it's going to look good. When you do a film in a certain way with a certain group, they want to take their time and make it look great and light it and all that stuff and be cinematic about it, which is awesome. But I took that mentality because a lot of times you have to apply it because you don't have a lot of time to do certain things. And then in the film world, back across to the video, is staying organized with my thoughts because I have to put everything in a box and know who's going where, what down it is, what inning it is, whatever sport it is, and you have to stay in the game. And I think putting those things in categories and making sure that I always know an assignment where I'm going to go in this situation, you kind of bring that with you. And it's always the hustle crosses over everything. You know, the way that I say it is heart, hustle, and creativity create your day, right? That's how you start it. And if you can put all those elements into you before you start the day, then you got your entire heart in it. You're in it to win it. You got the hustle, so you're willing to do whatever it takes to get it done. And then you're staying creative because a lot of your jobs that you have to be in a box, right? But if you're creative, you can get outside that box and really be beneficial and helpful because it's something that nobody else thought of. So you got to
Yeah.
stay creative always. And that's kind of, that's why I enjoy both of those worlds. And that's kind of what I bring to both.
That's awesome, man. I like that. I like the way you answered that. It was really, really good. All right, so
Thanks, man.
changing it up a little bit, we both know that freelancing can be very demanding, but how do you maintain the balance between work and personal life?
Ooh, that's a tough one, man, because every time you get a job and somebody calls you, you say yes.
Yes, we
So
do.
you do. So it's really hard to balance. But again, you have to ask yourself a certain group of questions. What are you doing this for? Right? If you're doing
Hmm.
it to get a career, then there's a lot of sacrifices that come with that. And the strongest part of you is your backup, your family, the people that are in at the house waiting for you to come home after you've been gone for so long, and then you come back for a day and then you leave again. So you feel bad about that, but it's part of the process, and you have to determine for yourself if it's too much, if it's not enough, if the people around you are really feeling it or not, and then you have to make that assessment. So that's how you get your work balance. I'm terrible at it because I work all the time, but my family understands that when I come back, it's all them all the time, right? Nobody
Yeah,
sees
you're
me
present when
anywhere.
you're home. Right, when you're
Present. When I'm
home, you're
home,
present.
I'm present. I'm present. I'm nowhere else. If I have a
Yeah.
passion project now and I'm here, my daughter comes with me. She's 14 years old. She loves working in the business with me as a, an assistant. So she's really like enjoying that. And I enjoy taking her with me. I do this puppet show now, and I'm glad that she's a part of that puppet show. And to see in that process, because she's having a good time doing that. So that's important. And that's part of balance as well. Sometimes you have to bring the people into your world to be balanced. It's not necessarily waiting till you come home. It's taking them with you. It's making them a part of what you're doing. That's how I balance, and my family understands that,
Yeah. Do you do anything yourself, any routines, or did you set up any boundaries so you could avoid burning out?
I do a few things. I mean, I've been known to get on the turntables every now and then and spin some records.
Oh,
You put the headsets on, you throw a set in of 2 hours of music, and you just kind of get after it.
nice.
I build characters in Dungeons and Dragons, and every now and then I'll play online, just to kind of get myself out of whatever I'm in, just to kind of get a new character, a new place, a new person. And then my daughter and I have a Lego table, like a 6-foot Lego table, and we created a city on that. And there's one through line, right? When you have a passion and you really enjoy doing something, you don't necessarily want to not do it. You don't get burned out from doing it. You get burned out from doing it too much. So I enjoy the art of being creative. I enjoy the process of thinking about things and being one cog in the wheel occasionally. That's kind of what my burnout, kind of get out of it. So when you think about D&D, somebody else is creating a story, you're playing one role, right? Lego, you do what you want, the pace you want, you make what you want. The stories kind of come in little chunks, and you're just kind of goofing off with your daughter, creating something. But all of that really it works for you, right? You're still kind of keeping your mind right for what you do for a living. And it's fun to do. And it's a getaway, but yet it's still in that same realm. And that's kind of how I choose what I do to not get burned out and still kind of stay in the same, area that I want to be in. Hey, I got one more thing, man.
Okay.
I just want to say this. This is very important, and this is very important to me. When you start in this business, you have to understand one very important thing. You don't eat the fruit off the tree the same day you plant the seed, right? You have to understand that everything that you're doing is planting a seed for a garden for the future. So you do a job, you plant the seed. You do another job, you plant the seed. That might grow, it might not grow, but you keep planting. Seasonal. Everything is seasonal. So you have to understand that yourself. Please understand that you do not get to do what you want to do when you first start out. You just have to grind a little bit, plant those seeds, water it, wait for them to grow, hope they grow, but keep planting. Next thing you know, you'll turn around, you'll have this whole fruit orchard of wonderful fruit to pick from, and then you can kind of determine what you're going to do from there.
Dude, what a huge golden nugget you just told everybody. That was awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that last part. And
Thanks,
again,
Bob.
thank
Thanks,
you for
Bob.
being us and joining us today on Media Hub. And, hopefully, who knows, season 3 we'll have you back on because you definitely gave
Let's
some good
go,
advice.
man. Oh, I'd love it.
All
I
right,
love
man.
it. Had a good
Again,
time.
thank you, dude. We'll catch up. Until next time.
Yeah, thank you, Dondi. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
Jamie, thank you so much for sharing your journey. Your story is a powerful reminder that freelancing is about planting seeds, networking, and finding that work-life balance. If you're chasing your dream in the world of TV, film, and live events, take Jamie's advice to heart. Stay adaptable, keep hustling, and don't forget to take care of yourself along the way. Thanks for tuning in to Media Hub. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment below, and share this episode with your creative friends. And we'll catch you next time here on Media Hub. Are you a filmmaker or content creator with a vision that demands the best? Then look no further than IPGRentals.com, the ultimate destination for audio, video, lighting, drones, and support gear for your productions. At IPG Rentals, we believe in the power of collaboration. Our gear becomes an extension of your creativity, bringing your vision to life. And with our tagline, Our Gear, Your Vision, we're not just a rental service, we're your production partner. Why choose IPG Rentals, you may ask? Easy. We bring quality, reliability, and an extensive range of top-notch equipment. From industry-standard cameras and audio equipment to state-of-the-art lighting and drones, our gear is meticulously maintained to ensure you get the best results every time. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.ipgrentals.com. Our gear, your vision.